go towards that, or if he's happy again, he just kind of like maybe look for a later counter pick, or if he wants to try and again kind of lean back into the Twisted Fates and the Gallios.
True. Hey, bottom line first though, right? Because this happened in the first series of the split, and Wink brings it back again. Now, I said this man was reliving JackieLove on IG, and I truly meant it. He had the sass in game number 1, had a pretty clean game. Draven comes out, and Tyler 1 fans everywhere getting pretty excited.
I mean, I'm hyped for this. And I love that, like, they brought out the Draven as, like, the ode to JackieLove, playing against Wanfeng, who trained under JackieLove. It was like the full circle of JackieLove in that game. But we are going to see now how they're going to try and pair up, because undoubtedly that is going to be the Nami picked up here for the next rotation. And do we just go back towards the Viego for Clid? He seems to be most comfortable on it. Okay. But I just want to see him have a little bit more action down towards this bot lane, because by God, IG are going to be putting all their eggs into this Wink basket. Yeah,
because if it goes downhill, I mean, if Wink gets ahead, this game feels pretty scary, and I'm curious to how IG pair this together. Dagda, you talked about a facilitating mid laner, especially this time with the Draven. I wonder if that works out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Like, I wouldn't mind the Ahri. I wouldn't mind...
Whoa.
Okay.
Shun is a different beast, hey.
Oh.
Shun is just different. You know, he's just bred different, apparently. There's Kindred game 1, Diana game 2. Now, on the cheat sheet, Dagda, I don't remember reading anything about Diana.
See, this was the thing, right? We actually did see this a little bit at MSI, but it's usually paired with like a Yasuo or an AD mid laner or these kind of things, right? So I'm really curious to see what the game plan is for IG here, because in my mind I was like, oh, we'll probably see something like the Talia or some kind of like pushing mid, so then you can like roam down to the bottom side, maybe an Ahri, like go and play towards the Draven, get this Draven up and rolling. But the fact that you're going for the Diana means that you're not really going to be making much plays pre-6. Chances are you're going for a Yasuo, which will probably banned away, thank you, or the Yone, or something along these lines. But these like AD like melee threats tend to be pushed in early, so you don't get to have that same sort of roaming pressure in the early stages. So I'm curious like what the game plan is here for IG.
Yeah, again, you already mentioned it. Yone might be next on the list here for FPX to ban away. And it makes me question, you know, what Zika does this time around with Draven already coming through. We're getting a couple of the meta bans up in the top side. Gangplank as well, Dagda, surprisingly banned away. It looks like, again, IG's priority is going to be tending towards that Diana partnership. And so far this split, I mean, they've had some of the most fun, confusing, but definitely fun drafts we've been watching.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, look, we could easily just get something like the Blood Fiora again here for IG, right? Like, not exactly the pick that I thought would be the most successful, but I mean, if it's working, it's working, right? So I'm really curious to see what the game plan is here.
I truly wonder, though, Dagda, if then xiaolaohu, you know, he's got a little bit more open up in the top side this time around. I say that, but there's 4 top side bans, but I'm kind of mentioning things like the Camille still there. The Fiora, if it's not picked open, could actually go to xiaolaohu once again. So what do we get? Hang on a minute. What is happening with IG? I just don't understand. Jax was banned last game, and that was one of the top side picks I was saying is open. Zerka's going to take it through this time around.
Yeah, I'm so like, I kind of got pretty like the Jax, because it's like, okay, cool. Chances are xiaolaohu going to go towards something that you can have the Jax go reasonably well. Zika wants to try and play off into a side lane. And again, I think these late game scalers that can survive the early game a little bit easier because the durability patch work out super well. But I'm like, FPX going to take the Fiora, who can do reasonably well into the Jax, so not going to be an issue. Now you got to see, okay, Care, if you go towards the Twisted Fates, has both sides of the lane that he can play, or sides of the map he can play towards, like giving resources to this Fiora to make it even more difficult for Zika to really try and pressure that lane. You're going to be able to try and shut down this Draven in the early stages as well. So I think it could work out super well, but Care actually going to go back towards the Swain, which I'm only so-so on. I think I would have preferred to see the Twisted Fate, but here we are.
I'm just mostly curious as to what finishes off in the mid lane. We've seen the Galio in game number 1, but we get a Sett solo lane. That's a Nautilus bot, folks, so I feel like IG are just full of surprises, Dagda, and now as a color caster, as the big brain on broadcast, you're going to tell me what this comp does well, because I feel like I'm heading in the right direction if I start saying it.
So definitely you're kind of looking at IG trying to play still around like the great setup in the mid lane, right? Like one of the big things that you see with Diana Yasuo is like, hey, you know, the Yasuo is going to try and go... sorry, the Diana goes in, ults, sets up pretty well for the Yasuo to deal damage. Same kind of idea here where either the Sett can set up with the Facebreaker. You have the Diana set up to have the Sett follow up. So this is where you can kind of see like it's still that 1-2 combo in the mid lane. But the thing is, you still got a ton of fighting power then when you get in towards this these mid game fights, because you're going to have Sett who can set up for these engages super well, great follow up with the Diana. And if you end up in a position where Sett can hit multiple people with like an ultimate into a Facebreaker, Diana follows up, that's an incredibly strong combo with the true damage coming through from the Sett as well.
Yeah, but once it's all down, Dagda, I truly wonder what's going to happen. Again, we're seeing a Draven come through this time with the Nautilus. Remember that all the conversation was about these Enchanter supports. We're getting a lot more Lucian, the Kalista, the Senna. Wink is like nuts to that. I played it in week number 1. I played it in the first game day back. And Wink, once again, his second game of Draven at the split. Almost did it. And I'm curious to see this one because we know that Eyes are going to be in the bottom lane, Dagda. We know that IG want this to roll straight away. And you're going to walk me through how it happens because Invictus Gaming in game number 1 looked in control. Their Baron play was the only risky play of the game, but everything else was clean enough. And now they've just come out with a completely different draft in game number 2 that screams that everything has to line up perfectly.
Yeah, so I kind of like the way IG have kind of set this one up, right? Because when you look at this, like Yuekai in the mid lane, the Swain doesn't have a huge amount of range in this lane, and his poke isn't incredibly high because of that lack of range. So for Yuekai, I think you get a reasonable amount of time to try and like scale up in this lane and actually become that big mid lane threat. Level 6 is incredibly potent for them, especially Yuekai taking the ignite here as well. So I think you've got like a really nice 1-2 combo in the mid that can then, you know, kill Care, or at least maybe force a flash, and then lean into the bot side to try and help Wink. Because I do agree with you, Hysterics, like if at least the bot side of the map for IG doesn't get ahead, it just completely comes off the rails then. And Zika just won't have the presence that he wants to try and play into that side lane split push.
Yeah, so again, I'll take your words and I'll start looking towards how mid actually interacts in the early state and how Yuekai gets through it. Also, as well, Shun's pathing. He will be heading towards the bottom side as Wink and XinLiu, as he's now called, just started up the blue buff. Faking the leash here. Maybe Turbo 5-head Big Brain, Dagda. What do you think?
Yeah, especially because you don't actually have any deep vision here for FPX, and Clid realistically would like to try and find these duels against Shun in the early stages. You've actually got like a ton of pressure here as Clid against this Diana pre-6, so Clid got to probably try and find an opportunity to like fight around topside scuttle, but unfortunately Diana, because she's kind of hitting her clear, will actually be in the bot side and going to be playing down towards Wink and XinLiu, which could catch Lwx and Hung off guard.
Yeah, I mean, you can see already that, look, xiaolaohu for the time being pushing up to the top side, probably feeling confident. There was a missing ping going up towards top now. I haven't been tracking vision control, but as we move away with the Diana,
so I think that's more. I think it's actually that's proof that FPX are completely bamboozled here, because I think Clid is like pinging, hey, Diana is somewhere in this top side, but she's actually pathing down towards the bottom side, because if he'd got the help on the clear, Shun would have been moving into his top side at that point in time. So FPX actually have lost track of where Shun is, but I don't really think you can do particularly much here as the Diana anyway. Like, you are still a Diana, you don't do a huge amount pre-6, but at least it does buy some breathing room for the IG jungler where he won't have Clid in his face.
Yeah, again, you know, nice little starting move here from Wink and XinLiu as they had to push down to the bottom side. Dredgeline great as well. There's the double exhaust from both sides, and Lwx and Wink fight at it. That's an exhaust for exhaust, and IG gets such a better trade as you expect from the Draven, who's now level 3 and has a massive wave behind him.
And Yuekai also moving down from the mid lane. This is what we were looking for.
Dagda, that would be scary. The missing pings come on out, the dive expected, and even though there's durability changes and we know that it's harder to dive, IG just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got this set in the early stages, the shield is absolutely incredible. And, like, you can even start to, like, pick up, or at least have, like, a ton of pressure because the number of flashes and everything else are there. Hung is so squishy, too. Like, this could have been a play that worked, but instead, they realized Clid had actually passed back down to try and help out this bot lane. So you'll have Shun getting double scope.
As Wink gets low, Aqua Prism flash away from XinLiu with the Ignite, and Clid's here to save the day. Has his own flash but won't burn it, and the Ignite ticking over. Lwx wants a piercing light. Clid's there as well. It's a double flash, excuse me, only one there from Clid, but FPX committing forward and sending XinLiu packing.
Yeah, nice job to kind of get that control back for FPX bot. And this is what we wanted to see from Clid, right? Even if you don't get the kills, getting control for this bot lane is so important against this matchup. So nice job from the FPX jungler.
Well, we do see a flash burn in the bottom lane, so something there at the very least. Wink and XinLiu don't back though. They stick around for the wave pushing into the turret while FPX's bottom lane gets a bit of turret plating themselves, and that gold's going to be great considering that we already see some pretty damaging trades coming through. And meanwhile, mid lane, Yuekai not getting the true damage, and Care utilizing that range. This Sett's running for the hills. He has his flash available, but Care has his own matches in melee range. Death's Hand bites for first blood.
Yeah, Care flashing in gets a ton of damage off that Q. The closer you are, the more that hit, the more damage you do, but I don't think it would have really mattered, to be honest. Yuekai, like, sticking around way too long in this mid lane. Not as tanky as he was hoping to be.
Well, I think this is a good start here for Care, considering that last game, nothing much happened with him, but this Swain getting first blood. Dagda, Yuekai was in control last game, and I'm curious to see where this goes, as we have a lost chapter already with the Swain burning TP to get back to this lane.
Yeah, we just see it here, right? Like, Yuekai trying to get this wave crashed in, doesn't have Diana there to help, and knows that Clid is still in the bot lane, so thinks he's alright, but doesn't actually have a very big shield. The bone plating as well means that Care doesn't take a ton of damage, and Yuekai just needed to flash earlier, like, just needed to make sure that he could actually get out of there, but unfortunately does get caught by Care and ends up falling down.
And so now I wonder how this changes the dynamic, Dagda. We've been talking so much about bottom lane, about Shun's pathing being in the wind, but now FPX pings are spotted out as he goes for the invade. They have an idea. FPX looking a little bit more confident here, and you know, I brought it up to you about how this Draven lane has to go and how this game feels like it has to work for IG. And you were telling me a little bit about how it works in combination, especially now with Shun approaching level 6, Yuekai having his own. I wonder what happens next, as Clid might give us a taste of that. Shun chasing him in his own jungle, and especially with Yuekai level 6, confidence now comes back for IG.
Yeah, you're still waiting on that 6 for Shun, though. Should have it in, like, a camp or two. You can just see they're pretty low on the experience there. So probably needs 2 camps before he can actually get it. And that's where you're going to start to see maybe you can look to make these big plays happen. Especially because Yuekai still does have that flash. I expect some funny business down into this bottom lane, as maybe we'll get it even earlier than 6.
I like that you said funny business, Dagda. I'm all about it here. Wave at a bit of a standpoint, and Wink, after he pushes it out, Dragon's there, so he's just going to move on up, and IG using the pressure at the right time. And, you know, we can talk about that combo in a little bit, and once we get towards a Herald in about a minute, Dagda, I just want to point out that IG decision-making was the topic of today, and again in this game at the start, seems to be on track.
Yeah, and I actually don't mind the fact that they're going for Dragon, right? I think they're basically saying, look, Zika doesn't have control over this top lane. We're going to go for Dragon, give Rift Herald a cross over to FPX, and maybe look to make a play onto the bottom side instead. And especially when, you know, you're sitting 0-0-0 on your Draven, a lot of adoration stacks are going to be built up. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, push out here from Yuekai, then maybe lean into bot side as this Rift Herald is about to come up, because I imagine Hong and Lwx, well, as you can see with the push here, can always look for a reset and go for something on the top side if they want.
I just love that FPX are doing it first though, right? You know, instead of them being able to make the play, FPX has done it for them as ulti's burnt by Zika in the top lane. xiaolaohu doesn't have his own, it's flash for flash, but a leap strike and a bonk from the Hockey Jacks. Zika with the solo kill, and IG's top laner bringing it in hard.
Zika has been dominating xiaolaohu in these matchups. He's a little bit behind on the CS, but a solo kill now in this game as well. I mean, I take back everything I just said. Now you've actually got a ton of control over in this top side. Yeah. And IG, they already know it. XinLiu's like, right, let's march in orders up towards the top side. We're going to get a Rift Herald.
Well, setting it up, Wink and XinLiu making the move, and you know, a big moment considering Wave starting to get denied. The back here as well from Zika. He might not have teleport, but no one's starting to Herald for now. And Dagda, I'm just so glad, you know, we're getting a bit more action here in this early game. And when you're talking about Herald and the play that could come through, kind of expecting we might beef around it. But what do you think? What do I see? Well, I see Lwx and Hung not moving, so maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah, and that's why Draven is already moving back down towards the bot side. Wink kind of going, all right, we know that with the kill on top, we're just having pressure on the map and we can go for this. And we're going to get a replay here as well. So Zika, like, actually going super aggressive. And xiaolaohu, you never riposte in this matchup that early. Like, the whole point is to try and, like, match the counter-strike with the riposte. And as soon as, like, you have that down, Zika just knows he's got the kill. So misplay on the riposte there from xiaolaohu cost him his life.
And with the first kill, Xing was picked up. But in the top side, Revenge is pretty swift here from Klid, who's level 6 and wants to take it out on Zika. xiaolaohu, his ultimate was burnt again, but the Grand Challenge doesn't go off. And for now, the Jack stays safe, and Klid now spotted out.
Yeah, and again, we're seeing these nice starts from IG. I mean, we are still sitting relatively even when it comes towards gold, but a lot of that is because you're like looking at that mid lane, right, where Yuekai is behind in CS, but he's all right, like with that. Oh, here we go.
Flash Facebreaker comes through, and he's going to dunk him into the wall. Care does not get any of it. IG knock him out, and that's a beautiful duo from the mid jungle.
And that's the combo we're talking about, right? It may not be the Yasuo with all the damage and the late game scaling, but you still have this beautiful 1-2 combo with the IG mid and jungle, and now they're going to get turret plates. They have a ton of control. Klid will show up, but I mean, Rift Turtle is going to do work on this tower as well.
Klid can't defend this. XinLiu's coming in as well, just in case. The turret will drop, and IG are going to be leading in gold. Top of your screen, ladies and gentlemen. 2,000 gold. Herald's going to get another charge as well. Klid has his smite, but Shun's zoning him off, and with the help of Care, well, he stops the second charge in its track. Big lead here for IG, once again with the Dragon as well, and even towards FPX's bottom lane, XinLiu is feeling spicy, knowing that IG have the edge once again at the start of this game.
Yeah, a lot of turret plates still matched by Lwx in the bottom lane, right? So
Also
still
true.
you are at least getting something back for FPX because XinLiu had to roam up towards the mid lane, but we'll have to see if they can actually convert that into anything, because you're still looking at about like a 12 CS lead for Wink in that bot lane as well. You just need, or even more than that now actually, as he's managed to catch the wave. So I think you got to look and see like what exactly you can do here for FPX. See if you can actually enable your bot lane in the way they had all split long last split.
Yeah. I mean, it's been an issue, Dagda. I'm sorry, I'm a bit distracted because Klid and Care are on a journey. They're like when, you know, Tarzan finally discovers Jane and wondering where can we go next as Klid and Care, though. They go to the wrong jungle. That guy with the shotgun from the movie, I forgot his name, but he's scary, and FPX have walked into him. However, Care starting to carry the play with Lwx, and the flash over the wall. This demonic ascension paying dividends as a double kill, looking to turn into a triple, but Wink is there, and Yuekai is an absolute fridge. He'll take two, but great for FPX considering they were down.
Yeah, I mean, 2 kills going to Care. You don't even get kills on towards Wink either, so that's actually a pretty big win for FPX, all said and done. So nicely played. Even though Klid kind of got bounced around, he still manages to be a win for FPX. You see it here, right? Like, everything in the kitchen sinks ends up getting tossed in towards Klid. Like, you're not really getting the damage here from Lwx with the culling, but here, Shun, you get the knock-up coming through from XinLiu. Then you get Shun's ultimate. Then you get anchored. And Klid's just like, look, lads, I didn't even have a chance. But the fact they even got the kill there means that they're able to at least set something slightly back up. Care gets the double, and just not quite enough damage because of the exhaust. So Lwx doesn't fall in the play either.
Well, with the starting kill with first blood, Dagda, I mean, Care's in a great position. 3-1, Leandri's picked up. Has a stopwatch on top of that as well. So I think it's worth mentioning that this time around, the mid lane of FPX feels like it could be a condition as Klid's caught out. A good dredge line from XinLiu, catching him and stopping the potential steal of the Dragon. That one taken in the end by IG. 2 Dragons up once again.
Yeah, still though, Wink being forced underneath this tower. So Lwx getting just there. I think he got another turret plate there. My screen did freeze a little, so I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm excited to see like if he can actually continue to try and play through this bot lane as FPX, because it feels like it's a little bit more of an even game than we had in the last one, and especially because you're looking at like at least decent team fighting from IG and FPX on both sides. It really does feel like if you can start to get the ball rolling early, you can just crack open this game for FPX. My biggest worry is, as you can see, Jack's taken over top side, 2 Dragons for IG as well.
And that Shun is so active as a jungler. Shun versus Klid has just shown Shun is always there. And xiaolaohu now dealing with the 2v1. Clit is mid for the time being as Moonfall flies through the crescent, comes on down, and unfortunately, he can't move. xiaolaohu stuck, and Shun making short work of this team. 2-1 Dagda, and that turret's going to drop with it.
Yeah, nice little solo kill there for Shun, but now you can see, like, got out.
Well, Yuekai is a tanky boy. Remember, he has the ultimate and the Gore Drinker available. Haymaker gives him a shield, buys him time, and Zika now here spinning the helicopter. Care doesn't want to be caught the blades. He's backing off, and IG make it so there's no trade for FPX, and they're starting to bleed out, Dagda.
Yeah, I was surprised to see FPX try and commit to the play on the top side. I was actually looking at the minimap going, okay, where's the cross map? You know, you got the culling from Lwx, they're getting some damage down onto Wink, and Clayton Care from top. Like, when you see that many people of IG in that top side, you can just look to go for the counter punch, but instead, they try to block it. It manages to go through. Terror down. xiaolaohu dead. Flash bird from Clit as well. It all went a bit sideways there for FPX.
Continues doing so, though, doesn't it? It's a 3k gold lead. 2 dragons in the back pocket of Invictus Gaming in game 2. And I thought this one had a lot of potential to go the distance, right? And still could, of course, depending on how FPX go traveling into this mid-game. But Dagda, IG, FPX both took a loss in their opening games to Weibo Gaming and EDG respectively. And, you know, IG looked a little bit messy, but I will say they've cleaned up so nicely for their follow-up game here against FPX.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, though, right? Like, you had a very distinct style from FPX last split, which is we're just going to dive bot, like, every opportunity that we get. But we haven't really seen them being able to set up. I mean, there's been 1 or 2 plays in this series, but actually, I'm going to hold on to this point.
Yeah, because
Yuekai?
look, there's a flashing from Yuekai. The showstopper down, and Clid's caught out. Wink gets the catch in. He's taking us all to Macca's as Care now at half HP, and after Wink treats us, it could be dessert time. 4 versus 5. Another Herald standing there, and a mid that's just going to be open. Dagda. That's scary when you see a Draven cash in after 15 minutes in the game.
I mean, look, the ice cream machine might be broken, so we won't be getting desserts, but that is still a ton of food for Wink. Like, the fact that you managed to... Oh, hang on. Is it good? No, we'll get on to home. But it's only the fact that you got him to cash in, right? Like, you're winning the fight, you're getting the Rift Herald, mid tower's down, top tower's down. Like, you actually start to... beat into tier 2s with this Rift Herald, which makes it so much more threatening for FPX. And again, it's about like trying to control this map for the next minute and a half when Dragon spawns. You come, you reset, you spend that lovely gold that you managed to pick up, push in mid, maybe drop a Rift Herald if you're feeling a little bit fancy, and just fall back to a Mountain Dragon, which has been served up on a silver platter.
So easily, right? FPX again, replay time. We're zooming in on the Scuttle because it's the face breaker with Scuttle for the stun. Yuekai, a 5-head moment for sure.
I mean, what do you do when it's just map diff, right? Scuttle Crab going, hold on, I got this. I'm going to help you out here. And just a really nice setup there to get the play. And unfortunately for FPX, just no vision control. No control, honestly, on that top side at all. So in a place that they shouldn't have been in. And now IG, as we said, push in mid. They can use the Rift Herald if they'd like to. It is on Yuekai, but I don't think there's really much pressure at all here, right? Yep. You just use the fact that Yuekai's in top side. He can threaten the tier 2 while you can go over towards the dragon, and all you have to do is stall it out and just let this potential push come in from the Rift Herald with the top.
Yep, so easily done. The way pushing in hasn't burnt it for now, but you can see FPX want to pick before the dragon because this is going to be 3rd dragon. Once again, IG held those cards in game number 1, and FPX had to give away soul in the end as IG still grouping up. Zika starts spinning, but the counter-strike is not given over to FPX. XinLiu with the dredge line. It's into a wall, and over they go. Lwx forcing out his flash. Culling as well, but the dunk down! Yuekai once again! The rookie vibes are there, but Care's in the middle with a demonic ascension. The flare fires through, and Care is on a steamroll, but he has to escape now as Shun can't close the gap. IG still in control of this one as counter-strike. Flash down, dredge line again. Invictus Gaming are giving me chills.
I mean, this is just such a sick combo from IG, and Yuekai every single time is setting up the plays, and that's going to be the 3rd dragon going over towards IG in spectacular fashion.
I don't know where it came from, Dagda, but they must be fired up after losing to Weibo Gaming on day number 1, because IG look coordinated and they look a hell of a fun to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, look, this was definitely an overextension from XinLiu, right? Thought he'd get the hook onto Care, but couldn't quite do so. But straight away, Yuekai sets this up, and You get Lwx to dash away, but the damage is already done. His quick stopwatch will keep Care mostly alive and give him the chance to like regen in this fight, but the damage was already done, and IG are in just such a good spot now to continue through here as Zika flashes in to finish off Care.
Cleanly done, and the third dragon after the fact as well, Dag. So look at this, IG on a timer once again is down to the bottom lane. It's 1 versus 2. Zika low on mana, but with the Divine Thunder trying to buy his own time with Yuekai once again, the hero to save the day, the showstopper back on in, but he can't do it. Clid gets a reset and now starts spinning himself. The face breaker there, the showmaker through, excuse me, not quite as he starts building up the shield again. With the tongue twister out of the way, IG continue to play, but it's 4 versus 4 when Hung and Lwx join in. They're chasing up and xiaolaohu has a bridge to burn. But IG will not be caught out with their pants down any further. Zika dies, and FPX will be happy with the trade.
Yeah, just a nice play from FPX to quickly catch out Zika off of the resets. But, I mean, now you've got Yuekai, who doesn't really have a lane that he can try and use this Rift Herald in. It's about to time out, so he will plonk it onto this bottom side. But at least when you look at where FPX are positioned, they should be okay to try and defend this.
Well, for now, as the Herald goes on down, we should be right, but look, cheeky play. Hung and Lwx. There we go. Tidal Wave with the teleport coming through. They're fully committing. Haymaker, as they get the name right this time around. Yuekai with such patience, but it's a double TP. They want this Sett to die, and die he shall. The face maker comes through, but Care takes him down. Meanwhile, coming through, IG want to pick apart the pieces. The Moonfall's already come through, and Zika continues chasing up as Care pops the ulti. The Demonic Ascension giving him healing, doing so much work, but it's a double knock-up again. IG have the numbers. Care needs to carry this. He's sending out Death's Hand. He's healing up. He's already picked up 2, but they jump on. They unleash the beast, and Invictus Gaming will not be stopped in this series.
There's just not enough in the tank. You had the people picked off perfectly by IG. Now they'll just push in this bot wave. They'll reset, try and set up vision control around this Baron area. And when you've got all outer turrets now down for IG, controlling this map becomes so much simpler for that Mountain Soul in 2 and a bit minutes.
Well, Dagda, if we get a fight like that again around it, though, I'll be ready to tell you what I think. Because, look, IG have a 7k gold lead. But once again, even though IG won the fight, it doesn't really feel, when Care's there, like it's so one-sided. We'll have a look again, because this was cheeky from Lwx and Hung.
And look, it's a nice idea from FPX, right? You have the double TP available. You know you can outpace IG to this bottom lane because Wink is in mid, but they just end up so split up, right? Zika and Shun are at the deal with Lwx and Hung. That's your majority of your damage now gone. Clid is definitely not strong enough to try and fight back, and we're getting picks on the top side.
Oh my god, we are. Shun has found it. Clid's dead again. Jungle diff is the easiest thing to say about this series, because this Jiffy has been so big, and Clid has really not been able to play the game this series.
Yeah, I mean, Clid just hasn't had the impact that we're really hoping. As I don't know if he wanted to do that. I don't think
Zika cares. The tidal wave comes through, the culling as well, past the minion wave, blocks half of the damage. Lwx not able to get out much this game either, as IG look near unstoppable. The gold lead massive, folks, and we're seeing some trading back and forth, but remember, it is IG who hold the cards. As let's have a look at the replay, and into the brush, and Clid was never seen again.
Yeah, I mean, the worst... I like this. Is this our MSI scare prize moment? Is that where we are? Is that what...
Well, let's bring it up.
Is that what this is? Because, yeah, I mean, look, Clid, that was not exactly what he expected to just run into several members of IG in the bush, but...
Very true.
Yeah, I mean, look, 40 seconds to the Dragon, control of mid, control of the bot side, not quite there, as Zika is actually going to reset. And honestly, the vision control isn't really set up for IG, but you're just so far behind here as FPX, I just don't know how you could try and contest.
I mean, again, if they get caught in the Moonfall Dagda, that's a 3-item diner here with Morel and Omicron. Remember, guys, Grievous wounds have gone down, but still against the Swain needs to be said and needs to be bought. We've got Dragon, 15 seconds. Dagda, I'm watching out for Zika this time, because he has been bopping heads, and now with the Black Cleaver, it looks like this guy will be as big as Yuekai in this coming fight.
Yeah, I mean, Yuekai in a great spot here as well. There isn't much vision that can spot him out. As he starts to try and move into position, will be spotted late, but we'll have to see as Dragon is now started.
A good never move starting by Care. Remember, he's the carry. If Care dies, this series is over, it feels like, as the Swain heads on up. The Mountain Soul up for offering as Xun is on it. The smite needs to be taken. Clid needs a steal. He needs to step up to the plate. Care comes in with Demonic Ascension, but no. Mountain Soul's given over, but look at the damage coming out from Care. And the reset through as well from xiaolaohu. FPX have started this fight really well as Hung is in the backline by himself, but it's the Portal combat with XinLiu getting hit by a split splash of a bath. That Nami doing work while the healing comes through, but look, the rest of the fight still relying on Care. The Demonic Ascension continues, and Dagda, I was right. If this guy's alive, all hope is still there as Xun tries to bring it all back. His damage immense, but the healing, not enough. Xun takes him down, but it was way too close for a fight that was 7k in IG's lead.
And the Mountain Soul going to IG as well means that it's only going to be more disastrous for FPX the next time these two teams face up. But yeah, close fight and Care getting so much work done. You can see why this reworked Swain is so popular at the moment, but not quite enough to be able to carry this through. And we look here, right? Yuekai tries to get into a good spot here, but Care is already in the backline, dealing so much damage to Wink, kicks off XinLiu as well. So even though you manage to get like 80 carry for 80 carry, Care is just doing so much in these fights, continuously getting this drain off across multiple people. The Death's Hand doing so much work, and although it's nearly enough for Care to carry, it's just not quite there.
It's so close. I mean, the fact that he's such a unit, it tells you a lot about Swain, but also tells you that the hopes of this series really do rely on this man. Xun only just surviving the end, and Dagda, IG still 8,000 gold ahead. 7.5 if you want to be specific, as that was 9,000 damage. Oh my god. Well, it's Care or beware, I guess, for this game.
Yeah, I mean, so much. And that's like, Care is doing his damnedest. And I've actually been pretty impressed with Care over the last two series, right? Because when I've been saying, look, Clid hasn't really been having the best of times. When you look at Care in the EDG series on the Talia, like, he was the one trying to make the early plays. He was the one trying to get FPX into position. And now again on the Swain, having these strong performances. But when you look at like the 9-1 for Xun, the fact you've got this like massive Jax on the top side, I mean, even the Draven isn't doing too shabby with 3 items as well. It just becomes so hard.
Really does. I will say at the very least, though, this Vision of Empire also giving quite a lot here to FPX, with the Vision showing that IG have started the Baron, pulling off for now. Clid is on the edge. He needs something massive here. He's been so quiet this series and a bit of a disappointment, really. But IG still playing with fire with Zika, hitting the side lane very nicely. And IG will continue playing this game nice and steadily, as they know how strong they are and will continue to be.
And what do you do now, right? Like, Zika is so strong against xiaolaohu in these side lanes. He's not really able to try and hold on against this. You've got control here for IG over the Baron area as well, although FPX will be able to clear out some of this. And all you have to do is just continue to like play this slow, right? You've got a ton of neutros that are going to be up relatively soon for IG, and they can just look to try and play around it. Shouldn't even now. Fishing does have flash if you can get in on top of multiple members of FPX.
Look at where Zika is, though. He's just waiting for someone to path towards his bottom side of the map. He was, no, was he? He wasn't spotted out. So he's just hovering around for now, pretty deep in the enemy jungle, while Baron is back a clock here for Invictus Gaming, and it starts up once again.
Yeah, and you've got like mega tank here in Yuekai as well, who can just sustain this way through this TP from Zook as well. We're full committing to this.
Yeah, we are. That Jax now in the thick of it. It will be a full 5v5, but look, Hung is not with the party, so Baron's going to go down, and IG really now making this gold lead look as devastating as it is. Baron in their back pocket. FPX still here for the fight. Spotted out as well. I mean, Clid's going to be tagged here. Xun jumps on in. XinLiu waiting for his moment to go over the wall as well, and Death flies through. Clid lucky to survive, but IG have forced him out and now can start doing damage on these outer turrets.
Yeah, everyone sees Xun and FPX are just like, no touchy, no touchy, no touchy, because if you get in the middle of that in these close corridors in the jungle, you're so screwed. But, I mean, now you're just completely out of position.
You are, and I mean, look, Zika's going to dive this as well. Care caught out, has to go golden, but the whole of IG waiting. He won't survive in front of 5 without his team behind him. The carry is down, the president is down, and now FPX have to abandon the country.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're all just running for the hills. Inhibitor will fall. I mean, they're just going to keep going. FPX, what are you going to do?
Well, Shun's on in, the Moonfall flash again, does its damage, forces him back, but he's deep with the stopwatch helping him out surviving. But the last tick is Clid looking for his first reset, but even under his own turret, can't find it. Another cash in for Wink, who's been quiet this game, but no longer. Heading forward, Invictus Gaming look invigorated in the break between spring and summer. They won't end it here, but this team has been taking it nicely from start to finish.
Yeah, an 11,000 gold lead now for IG. Hung is just trying to chase them out because they know, hey, look, there is that Elder Dragon at 30 seconds, and if we can stop this, maybe we can find that window back.
He's back. They voted him back on in, and people have started populating the lands once again. Care is chasing them down. He's got a flash vision of Empire, knows they're still in the vicinity, and Care wants revenge. With everything against the wall, I was hoping for something, Dagda, but nothing. IG just get away scot-free.
And they'll still get to reset as well. You chase so deep into the top side, you're not actually going to be able to contest this Elder. But you see here, Shun, just that little bit too far forward. Great flashes from Lwx and Hung to keep themselves safe, which causes Shun to overextend. But just with the both towers taking shots at IG, there's just no way for them to have the damage to try and follow up on this.
And look at the very least with that cheeky little dive. They have to back away, so we get an Elder fight. But Dagda, I'm still worried. Care is the person to watch, and IG have just gotten stronger as Wink's damage against xiaolaohu proves that. 3k now. Needs to be another steal coming through, but no. Shun hasn't missed. It's a Moonfall. Shows us that as well. xiaolaohu starting to burn down the Elder buff. Smacking through. Lwx getting hit hard. Zika and Yuekai alongside their big brother Shun. Invictus Gaming flaring up. This is a team I can't wait to watch.
And that's the triple kill for Shun. That's the series for IG. The minions are already streaming in. There's no stopping this squad.
Dagda, he's 13-1-8 on Diana. But the story started in game 1 and even this game with Yuekai. Coming through on Galio game 1, Sett game 2. This mid laner is shaping up to be fierce. The young mini rookie in IG leading the charge as they get their first win for LPL 2022 summer.
This mid jungle from IG has actually been terrified all series long. Setting up consistently to try and play through this mid lane, finding control, leaning that in towards neutral objectives. Like, this is a very different style to what we saw from IG in spring, where even though they might, like, say in game 1, try and play side lane, it was much more about like, hey, we're going to gift all these resources to Zika in the early stages of the game. But that wasn't that this time around. Playing through this mid lane, getting Yuekai to set up Shun or vice versa, it's looking pretty good for IG.
And the fact that we've got multiple people to talk about Dagda, I think that always tells you the dimensions of a team, right? And IG here in this series had many different dimensions. Wink and XinLiu had some great moments. They were calm. But jungle mid, you talked about jungle top as well. Like, let's be real. Zika had such a great moment, as you're talking about, had such a good game here on this Jax. The solo kill was everything, and this flare from IG is something I haven't seen for a while. I'll be honest, man. I was once upon a time an IG fan. They were the first team I watched the LPL, the split before I joined LPL as a caster, because of the Shy and Rookie, and because that team was like lane kingdom. You know, it was the first 20, 25 minutes that was so devastating for people to get past. This team might be different, Dagda, but at the very least, we get that individual flair that I think a lot of fans have been missing for quite a while.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You're still seeing hints of that, particularly in the top lane, right? Like, I think Zika has been so strong on, like, when he gets... So, even when we saw it against the Shy, right? Like, when he had the counter pick, Zika was, like, completely controlling that lane in the top side, but it was when he was on the counter pick... Or, sorry, when he was getting counter picked. That's where we saw him struggle against the Shy. But, like, the fact that he's completely kind of manhandled xiaolaohu all series long speaks volumes to, like, how strong Zika is in the 1v1, and if you can find that isolated lane for him, and especially if IG are going to kind of like just leave him on his own little hill and instead look to try and play through mid, it means you kind of have the supporting cast to make sure that Zika can continue that 1v1, and then just look to play split push. Like, IG actually have a relatively good understanding of how to try and play map states, how to try and play off waves, and you can see it here, right, where you're getting these quick Baron TPs coming through because of the pressure that Zika's able to create on side lanes.
And it's funny to me because that wasn't the compliment we were giving them in the first series, right? Like, playing off of waves, Dagda, their mid-game, kind of atrocious in that sense. Headless chickens. I think was fair to kind of say we talked about in rehearsal. So this is a really good adaptation, and it might just be one series, but it kind of fills me with hope that Invictus Gaming have mended their series against Weibo Gaming, because we kind of saw a game like this. We saw a very concrete game against Weibo, which took the series to 3 games. So IG maybe as well a little bit better than expected, and although FPX might be another mid-tier team in the grand scheme of things, this gives us a lot of hope when IG next will be versing a team like Top Esports and could bring the same identity to the table.
Yeah, I got to look at the flip side, though, for FPX, right? Because when you talk about, you know, hiring expectations for IG, I feel like I need to lower mine for FPX, right? It feels like they had a very distinct style that worked in spring, which was, hey, we're going to give a ton of resources to the bot side. We're going to make sure that Lwx and Hung are set up to be these big carries. But now as we start to kind of go through into summer, it feels like they've lost a lot of that. Clade not really having the same sort of impact in the early stages. You can see there even on the damage graph, very, very low damage for Viego. It never really felt like they were able to find those moments to like set up lanes, maybe look for some roams, try and make something happen. And it feels like as a result, Lwx and Hong are struggling. And the only real shining light on this squad that I see is Care. I think Care has been exceptional in both series that we've seen from, even in even though these have been 2 losses. I think Care should be proud of what he's achieved. It just feels like the rest of FPX haven't really found their footing yet.
I mean, it's disappointing when FPX were a team that were hovering on the outskirts, right? Like, FPX, and when I say that, of course, like, we know how FPX went last split, but they're a team that, with Clid coming through, who is a big name, who's been on SKT in the past, who's been on JDG, folks, need I remind you, he was previously in the LPL. But, you know, this team made playoffs. They were on the outskirts in the sense that they got knocked out by EDG in the first round in spring. That was with, you know, Care in the roster. Lwx Hung is the exact same roster. Gori didn't end up playing. So this is a playoff quality roster. But, you know, this is not a great start when you're looking down the barrel of a 0-2. And there are a lot of issues with your jungler, as we've seen.